Hey there guys, and welcome to my September reading vlog. So September is a month where I actually don't participate in any readathons, I don't do any challenges or anything like that. I just want to read what I'm in the mood for, and I'm very excited about that, even though I'm also very excited about October because I'm planning to read some scary books. I have a little challenge on my blog that I've been doing for a couple of years now, but I will tell you all about that later in this video. So this month is going to be exciting because I just do what I want to do, and for the next 13 days my partner is out of town. He is in Norway right now visiting a friend, so I am challenging myself to read 100 pages every single day that he's gone. Now we'll see how that goes. The first book I am reading this month is Fatal Voyage by Katie Reichs, and I already started this yesterday. I read the first 50 pages of this, so I'm right now on page 52. So my goal for today is to get to page 152. It is currently midday, so I just finished editing my vlog for last month. So if you haven't seen that, it was a nude readathon. It's very exciting and I achieved a lot. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I don't know what will happen this month and I'm so excited for it. So let's get Yesterday I managed to read 101 pages of Fatal Voyage, and I very much enjoy this book right now. I love Katie Reichs' books about Temperance Brennan. This is the fourth book in the series, and I feel like the writing style is so special that it always pulls me right back into the world. And yeah, I just love these kind of crime novels, thrillers. They all focus about anthropology, I think it's what it's called. Yeah, and it's just such a special series that I think definitely is something unique, you know? It's not like all the other thriller books, so I love this a lot. And if I keep on reading at this rate, I will finish it in 3 more days, so hopefully we can get this done.
So I got 2 packages in the mail. One is bookish and one is not, but I'm super excited about both of these things, so I wanted to show you quickly. First off, the non-bookish thing I got is the new Lana Del Rey LP, and I'm really excited. I've been listening to this on Amazon, but now I got the physical thing as well, and I really like it. I think it's a fantastic new album. And then for the bookish thingy-majingy, ooh, I can't get it out. I got Nevermore, the first book in the series by Jessica Townsend, and I'm gonna reread this. No, not. I'm gonna buddy read this with my best friend because I just got her the German copy and I want to read the English copy so we can read it together.
I'm on page 285 now. Yesterday I read another 130 pages of this book, and this is so good. I think it's even better than the last book in the series. I really enjoy this. I think the theme of like Brennan being a scapegoat and someone's trying to set her up is really interesting, and I can't wait to see how this all turns out because I feel like now stuff's getting real. Like I've crossed the halfway point and I'm really excited about this. I have 20 more pages before I'm finished with this book. I did not read those last 20 pages yesterday night because I feel like the big reveal has happened now and I was really tired. But I'm definitely gonna finish this book today. I must say I think this is my favorite of the series so far. Is it flawless? No, definitely not. But it was just so enjoyable and so interesting, and I felt like it really was a step up from the other books in the series, so I'm really excited, and yeah, talk to you more about this soon. I finished it and I loved it. I think I would give this 4.5 stars. I think it's absolutely incredible. There's also a little afterword where Katie Reichs explains that I think the year she finished this, or the year she published this, was 9/11, and that she was actually there helping to identify victims and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know whether this book is slightly inspired by it. I don't think so. But, you know, this is also dealing with a plane crash and how that uncovers things that, you know, lay hidden for a very long time. I absolutely love this book. Yeah, I'll talk about this more in my wrap-up, but I wanted to let you know that I have finished my first book this month. So I'm off to see both movies for It. Last month I reread the book and I'm really excited. Right now, I think I'm more afraid of going out on my own to where people are because no one wanted to watch these freaking movies with me. They're all afraid. Yeah, we'll see. I'm really excited, but I hate going places where people are. So let's see. I'll definitely tell you all about the movies tomorrow. Hey guys, so I wanted to update you. Yesterday I managed to watch both It movies in one night. Took forever. Like it started at 8 and I left the movies at 1:40. So yeah, I was very late to go to bed and everything, and I'm quite a bit tired today because I only slept like 5 to 6 hours, somewhere in between. So yeah, but it was definitely worth it. I enjoyed both movies a lot. I think the second movie does a lot of fan service. Like how many times they mention that the endings of Bill's book sucks. So yeah, I found this so funny. But there's obviously a lot of horror in there as well, and I probably watched a quarter of the movie just being like this. But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I had a great time, and I don't think I will rewatch the movies anytime soon, but I liked it, and it was just so cool to see all these characters come to life, even though some characters are dramatically different from the books. Today, yesterday I also started Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow. This is a book I've had my eyes out for a very long time, and I recently got it for my best friend in the German copy, and so we decided to buddy read it. So I got myself an English copy, and yesterday I managed to read 30 pages of that. The first chapter was very challenging. Like the way they treat, what's her name? Morrigan. It's pure evil. So I'm very excited to continue this right now. I will go into the bathtub and do some reading. And since I'm buddy reading this, we've made some decisions on how much we're gonna read. So I'm gonna read until chapter 9, and then I will stop and wait for my friend to catch up so we can talk about it. Hey guys, so I have quite bad allergies right now, so don't mind my lips. I have a ton of creams on there right now because they're really dry and chapped. But I wanted to give you a quick update. On Thursday, I've read the first 8 chapters of The Trials of Morrigan Crow, and I enjoy this book a whole lot. I really love Morrigan as a character, and also Jupiter North. I think he's so much fun, and I can't wait to see where this book goes. So I'm right at the point where she's starting the trials, I think. So she's meeting the first other other younger people there. I really loved everything that happened so far, and it feels just so magical. And on Friday, I actually wasn't able to read this book, and I really missed it. Like, I missed the characters. I wanted to keep reading. So yeah, I am very happy that this book is as good as everybody says. And then last night I started Unbroken, which is a short story collection. This has 13 stories about disabled teenage characters, and I'm really happy to finally pick this up. I've had it for a while now, and I've read the first 3 stories so far. I gave the first one 4 stars and the other 2 stories 5 stars. The third story was my favorite so far because it was very creepy. It's about this girl in a wheelchair, and her best friend takes her into the woods, and they discover an old carnival, and it's very eerie, very creepy, and absolutely up my alley. So yeah, that was my favorite story so far, and I will definitely keep reading this alongside, because I'm buddy reading a Morrigan Crow with my best friend, and I'm always waiting for her to catch up basically, so I can read both of these books at the same time. Now, I also wanted to listen to the audiobook of The Fate of the Tearling while I was in my car because I was gone for the weekend. But I forgot my phone charger, and so I could not do that. So I still have about 8.5 hours of that left, but I also really love this series. Erica Johansson definitely knew what she was doing there. I enjoy every minute of it, and I will keep you updated on that one as well.
And look at this little dragon right here.
So yesterday I read 5 stories in Unbroken. Now I'm on page 177. I gave all of these stories 4 or 5 stars. I think this collection is very good. The only exception is the story called Plus One, which just wasn't my personal taste, but that doesn't have to do with the story being bad, just that I felt like it didn't really fit into this collection of stories, and it was very similar to the first story as well, but then also very different. So yeah, I just felt like it didn't really match up, but the other stories were quite nice. I have 5 stories of this left now, then this will be finished, so I'm very excited to keep you updated. Also last night I finished watching The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the second season. I hadn't watched it yet, so yeah, I love the second season. I think it's very fun. I do love this series a lot. It's not like my favorite TV show or anything, but I think it's very entertaining and I just love the characters. Zelda is my favorite character, obviously, and I feel like she had a couple of moments in the series, especially the one where she's under the curse of her husband and that is broken and she's like, what the hell am I wearing? And I love that so much. But yeah, I would highly recommend this TV show if you're into like witches and a little bit scary, but not too much. It's not really a horror horror show, but it is fun. So yeah, keep you updated. So last night I read 4 more stories in Unbroken, and I loved all of them. I gave them 4 or 5 stars, and I really like this book as a whole. I have 1 story left that I will probably finish tonight, and then I'll talk to you more about the whole collection, because I have a lot of thoughts about, you know, the whole thing. But all the individual stories I'm loving so far. Look at this green. It's beautiful. So yesterday I finished Unbroken, the collection of 13 stories written about disabled teenagers. I don't know if all of the stories are own voices, I don't think so, but it's all writers that are more on the activist side on bringing disability into, you know, the knowledge of teens and stuff like that. I do have a couple of thoughts about this book. One thing is that I found there to be a little bit of an imbalance because there was only 1 story, I think, with a girl in a wheelchair, and I wanted there to be more because honestly, I know 3 people in my age that are in a wheelchair, but I don't know anyone who uses a cane. And there's 3 stories, I think, about teenagers walking with a cane. And so I just felt like there was a little bit of an imbalance there. But yeah, I thought it could have been a little bit more well-rounded. There is a lot of like psychological disability as well, like autism and schizophrenia and stuff like that. Now there's a person right in front of my window. Oh my god. But yeah, I just felt like this could have done more, or there could have been a little bit more focus on like physical disability, such as being in a wheelchair, because I think that is a huge part that is still ignored in literature a lot. So overall, I did enjoy this a whole lot. I decided to give it 4 stars because of that, but all the individual stories were great, so I highly recommend you pick this up and see for yourself. Then I also managed to read a little bit more of Nevermore. I'm now on chapter 12, so Morrigan just had her first trial, and I loved it. I think this book is so creative, and the weirdness is just great. I love it a lot. I can't wait to read more of this tonight, but yeah, didn't do a lot of that yesterday because work was crazy. And then lastly, I only have 4 hours left in my audiobook, The Fate of the Tearling, and oh my god, that was just such a big reveal. I usually listen to it in the morning when I get ready. Such a big reveal, and I'm just not ready for all of that to come to an end and to know everything. I think this series is one of the best fantasy series that has been written in the last couple of years. I love it a lot. But I'm not ready for the end, I can tell you that. So yesterday I made it to chapter 17 of The Trials of Morrigan Crow, which is the next checkpoint. So now I'm waiting for my best friend to catch up so we can talk about this part. I'm 2/3 through this book now and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I think the first trial is the most fun one, to be honest, but all the other ones were pretty cool as well. And yeah, I really love this book. I can't wait to see where it goes, and some of my theories have already come true, so yeah, we'll see about that. And then I also started a new book last night, which is Always and Forever, Lara Jean, which is the third book in this series by Jenny Han. I wanted to finish the series before the summer is completely over here. From the lighting you can see it is basically over here, but yeah, this is a very short book. I only read the first chapter yesterday, but I just want to get this done and be over with it. Also, last night before going to sleep, I had the urge to listen to some Christmas music. Really weird, so if you can hear it in the background, I'm sorry, but I just needed that right now. My audiobook, The Fate of the Chilling, is definitely coming to an end slowly, and it's so gripping. I can't even stop listening to it. I have 3 hours left now. Yesterday I made it to chapter 17 in Always and Forever, Lara Jean, which is almost halfway through. This book is a very, very fast read. You don't really need a lot of brain power for it, and the pages go by really quickly. But it's not a story that I love, to be honest. Margaret is the character that annoys me the most. Like, I really do not like her at all. So I've been trying to think of why that is. But yeah, I just feel like she's pretending she's doing all the stuff that's good for family. But in reality, she's just really selfish. And a lot of the things she does are not bad per se, but the way she brings it across is very selfish. So yeah, I really don't like her, and since the last couple of chapters involved her, I was a little bit more annoyed than with the rest of the story, but we'll see how it goes.
I've just finished The Fate of the Chilling, and honestly, this is one of my favorite fantasy series of all time. So good. I still have to think about it a little bit, but so good.
So today's the 19th of September. I finally finished Always and Forever, Lara Jean, which is the conclusion to this series. It was really cute. I think I would give it 3 stars. You know, I'm just not a contemporary reader per se, so I did like this series for what it is, but it's nothing I will ever go back to. I'll probably give this book away now that I've finished the whole series to someone who will actually really enjoy it. My hair is a mess. What's going on? So yeah, this is the conclusion to the series, and I think it is a good one. I did enjoy this, I think, a bit more than the second book. I didn't really like that, but yeah, I just liked how it all turned out with going to college and stuff like that, and the decision that Lara Jean makes at the end. And I think the last couple of sentences are very well chosen and are just very sweet. So yeah, if you're into contemporary and you're one of the very few people who still haven't read this, probably just give it a try or watch the Netflix movie. I did really like the Netflix movie. So yeah, I still have a little bit to go in Nevermore because I'm still waiting for my friend to catch up. But I hope I can finish it this weekend and maybe even read a good chunk of another book as well. Hey guys, so today's the 21st of September and I finally finished Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow. And this book is so good. I think this is the best book I've read this year. I have to think about it a little bit more, but so far, absolutely loved it. I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 stars. Loved all the characters. I loved the plot. I loved that I was right about the Wondersmith. And yeah, I'm just really excited and I'm so happy that I finally read this. I think I will wait a little bit before I get the second book and reread this one before then, because right now I was always waiting for my best friend to catch up, so I didn't really read this in one sitting, kind of. Not really one sitting, but you know, just I read a couple of books in between. And I really want to read this again and, you know, read it through completely without any pause. So, yeah, that's my plan for now. Absolutely loved it. I'm so glad I finally picked this book up because I think the third book is coming out soon and I've been struggling so long because I wanted this, but I didn't really allow it to myself. I just love it. Why did I wait so long? So that's great news. Now, as always, when I've finished a very good book, this is driving me nuts, I'm sorry. Whenever I finish a really good book, then I'm struggling to decide what to read next. So right now I'm going in between The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt and Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Thing is, I'm not really interested in Fangirl, but I wanted to read it before I reread Carry On, which is one of my favorite books of all time. And then the sequel is coming out soon as well. So yeah, that's my struggle right now. I guess I will start Fangirl, but I don't know. I really don't want to, but then maybe it will be a nice surprise as well. Also, I wanted to update you quickly on my audiobook, The House of Salt and Sorrows. And I'm about 3 hours into it now, and it got really dark and creepy really fast. I thought this would be like a easy transition into my October reading, you know, being a little bit creepy maybe. But shit's getting real, like real fast. So yeah, I'm very much enjoying that one right now. So I'm not the biggest fan of the narrator yet, but yeah, the book so far is really good. So I have really high hopes for that one, but I still have about 9 hours to go, so it's way too soon for a verdict on that. So you might have seen that I just started Fangirl. I'm about 60 pages in right now. I'm gonna take it into the bathtub. But I had a little bit of a realization going through the books that I've read recently that with almost all of them, I have girls that grow up without their mothers and only with their fathers. So, for example, I've read Always and Forever Lara Jean, and she's growing up with only her father. I have read Morgan Crow, the Trials of Morgan Crow. She's growing up only with her father. There was another one. Oh yeah, right now I'm listening to The House of Salt and Sorrows, and these girls are only growing up with their father and the mother is dead. And now Fangirl sounds like the mother isn't around either. So I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Is that like a new trend, a new theme, or is this like the weirdest coincidence ever? But I wanted to let you know, just in case, you know, that's a trope that you like.
She's actually been missing her attire for like years, and she's been with her captor for that entire time, and she finds out that.
So I am more than halfway through, what's this called? Fangirl now. And I'm actually surprised how much I'm enjoying it. I really didn't expect that. And I do think Kath is a very interesting character. Her twin sister, though, is getting on my nerves quite a bit, probably because I know that I would be very similar to her, and I just don't like characters that are similar to me when they're not the main character. Yeah, I'm right now at the Christmas break part, so this might be a bit more uncomfortable for me because I am teaching at a university actually, and so her missing out on her finals and stuff gives me a very bad feeling because it reminds me of work. But apart from that, this book is really fun. Finished. Hey there guys, so yesterday I finished Fangirl. I decided to give this 4 stars. I enjoyed it very much. This is a book that is just very compelling and it's very hard to put down once you're reading it, so I had a very easy time finishing it, and yeah, as I said, I just enjoyed it. It's not that I can relate to the story a lot or anything, but I thought that the relationship was cute. I liked the characters for the most part. I did not like the twin sister. She was a little bit of a brat. But apart from that, I just really liked it. I don't think it's like super special, like something you have to read, but it's a very quick read and fun, and it deals with some interesting topics. So overall, I think this is just a good book, and if you're interested in it and, like me, have not picked it up yet, definitely do it. And then yesterday night I picked up The Giver, the graphic novel. I got this for my partner because it's one of my favorite stories of all time and I wanted him to read it, and he did now. So he gave this back to me so I could read it as well. That's why I don't have the dust jacket, because he kept it, so it's protected and doesn't get destroyed. I got to chapter 5, I think, and I will finish this tonight because today's the last day of September and I want this out of the way for my October reading plans, which I'm so freaking excited about. So yeah, talk to you more about this soon. So it is 9:30 now, and I will go ahead and do the dishes, get ready for bed, and read my last 35 pages of the Giver graphic novel in bed. I just wanted to quickly say that I absolutely love this book. I mean, The Giver is one of my favorite books, period. But the graphic novel also has some really strong parts. I think that there's, especially with the memories, scenes that work so much better in pictures, even though at first I was a little bit sad because the whole color thing obviously is much more easy to guess when you have it in visual form. Like in the books, you're like, the apple changed, like what? And in the book it's very obvious that it turned red, but that's just such a minor part, and I feel like it also has very strong parts in the graphic form, and I'm very happy that this gives some kind of merit. So I will finish the last 35 pages. I will not update you probably tonight, but I will have a wrap-up part at the end of this video, so if you're interested, you can stay tuned and hear me talk about all the books I've read this month in a quick little wrap-up part now. Hey guys, sorry for the lighting, but I wanted to do a quick wrap up at the end of this video to share with you all the books that I've read in September. So I got my little notebook here and we can check which books I did read. The first book I finished in September was Fatal Voyage by Katie Reichs. This is a book about Temperance Brennan, who is an anthropologist, I think, and she helps the police and stuff like that to solve murders and similar things. And in this book we follow her as she's called to a plane crash site, and she is supposed to help with identifying the victims of the plane crash, but then she finds a foot that does not match any of the passengers that were on the plane, and so maybe she's discovering even more than just that plane crash. I really like this one. This is the fourth book in the series. This was also published in 2001, so it was written right before 9/11, which she also acknowledges in a little afterword. And I found that to be, very harrowing to imagine, you as an author writing about a plane crash and then 9/11 happens. And she was also one of the people identifying the victims of 9/11 as well. So yeah, this book definitely blew me away. It was a very good book and I gave it 4.5 stars. The next book I then finished was Unbroken. This is a collection of 13 stories and this was collected by Marieke Niekamp. This is a Dutch author, I think, and all of these stories are about disabled teens, and they're not all own voices, but they are all by authors who have some kind of disability or mental illness or something like that. So I really enjoyed this. I gave this collection 4 stars in the end because I felt like there was a little bit of it was a little bit skewed, I didn't feel like all the disabilities were portrayed equally, and I did love every single story that was in here. I think the weakest story I gave 3 stars to, so I really loved this as the individual stories, but I feel like as a collection I wanted it to be a little bit more variety. Like I think there's one story from a person that is blind. I'm not quite sure, but there could have been so much more, and I felt like some things were a little bit more repetitive, especially with mental illness, which I think we have a lot of books about mental illness. So going into a book about disability, I wanted something different. I wanted things that I have not seen in books so far. But apart from that, this is a fantastic collection. I would highly recommend it if you're into something like that. Also, the cover is so beautiful, and yeah, I just love this book, and I can highly recommend. Then the next book I finished was my audiobook, The Fate of the Tearling. This is the third book and the conclusion of the Queen of the Tearling series by Erika Johansson, and I absolutely loved it. This is a bit of a weird book and a weird ending to a series, and I could see that some people don't like it. I actually did. I felt like it matched the tone of the whole trilogy quite well. There's a lot going on, a lot happening. There's also a couple of creepy scenes or like really weird scenes, but overall I just very much enjoyed it. I think the second book is the darkest in the series, like with the darkest themes and stuff, but the third book then gives so many answers to questions you had for such a long time that it's also very fascinating. And I said there's some quite creepy things happening in this third book, so I would highly recommend the whole series. I think if you like the first book, you're gonna like the whole series. Like, I found that they were all equally good, and it was a great conclusion, and I'm so glad that I read those books. The only thing that really bothered me is that every single book was narrated by a different person. So I don't know why they did that, because it was always a little bit weird getting into the book because you were used to other voices, and then after an hour or so you get used to it. But yeah, that was a little bit weird. So I think I'd give The Fate of the Tearling like 4, maybe even 4.5 stars. I'm not quite sure yet. Then I read Always and Forever Lara Jean, which is also the third book in a series that I really wanted to finish this year. This is the third book to the All the Boys I've Loved Before series by Jenny Han. This is a very short book. I think it's much shorter than the first one, but it's a very quick read. I mean, this is contemporary. I don't really like contemporary reads. I don't even know why I've read this whole series, but it's okay. It was still fun. I did like this more than the second book. I really didn't like the second book. I thought there were some really weird things in there that, you know, just were boring and stuff. But this book is about Lara Jean now growing up and trying to decide which college to go to. She always had in her mind that she would go to a very particular college, but then she's not accepted there, but she's accepted to some others. But you know, as it always is, there are some pros and cons about every single one of them, and so she has to figure out what she wants to do with her life and how she feels about her relationship, whether she wants to go long term with Peter and stuff like that. So I did enjoy this. I think that the main character, Lara Jean, is a little bit more mature, and she makes decisions a little bit more coherently. I don't know how to say it, but like, I didn't feel like she was that naive young girl from the first book anymore. I definitely felt like she grew up. Still, I hate Margaret. I just don't like her. I think she is such a bitch, and yeah, I don't know. I just, in this book again, she really bothered me, and whenever it was like, oh, Margaret's coming home, I was like, no, please don't. But yeah, apart from that, this was a fun ride, and I did like the conclusion to this series. I think, you know, it wraps everything up nicely, and it's a cute little bow on top, and I finished the series. That's what counts for me. So I decided to give this book 3 stars in the end. Then I finished one of my favorite books of the year, The Trials of Morrigan Crow. This is the first in the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend. I read this together with my best friend, so I had to space it out a little bit, and that really bothered me because honestly, when I started this book, I could not put it down. It's so good. I loved the characters. I loved the story. I wanted to know what's going on. This was just fantastic. Like, all the times I heard people rave about this book, I was like, oh, I want to read it so badly, but I just never allowed myself because I was like, maybe it's a disappointment. Well, no, it was not. So this is about Morrigan Crow, who is supposed to die on her 12th birthday, I think, but then the event that is supposed to cause her death happens a year early, and obviously she thinks she's gonna die at midnight, but then a weird man appears in her living room who is called Jupiter North, and he takes her to another part of the world, and he's like, well, There are these trials, and if you live through all of these trials and you're accepted into this secret society thingy, it's not really secret, but that elite society thingy, then you can live. So Morgan partakes in the trials, she meets new friends, she has a real family for the first time, and like all the fields, and such good fun, and I really liked the trials. I thought they were so interesting and quirky, like I loved this book so much, so I gave it 5 stars, obviously. So excited to read the second book. I'm gonna wait a little bit, and before I read the second one, I definitely want to reread this, but I love this so much. Then next I read another contemporary. What's wrong with me? I read Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This is a book that I had bought used from a friend of mine because she wanted to get rid of it, because I fucking loved Carry On. Like, Carry On was one of my favorite books of the year that I read it, and so when she told me she had Carry On and also Fangirl in matching editions, I bought them both. So, as you may know, the sequel to Carry On is, I think, already out now, or probably coming out soon. And so I decided that this would be the perfect point in time, I can't talk right now, to read Fangirl, then reread Carry On, and get the sequel. So that's what I did. I started with Fangirl, I read it, have not read it before. I went into this not really expecting too much because I'd never read another book of Rainbow Rowell's before, but I really enjoyed it. Like, for a contemporary, this was such good fun. Again, I hated the sister character, like, what the F? She was so annoying, but I mean, that's the whole point, I guess. But yeah, I really didn't like her, but I did like Kath and the story with her and her romance, and how she tries to fit in and stuff like that, and how she doesn't really fit in. I think the American way of universities is so weird, like that they tell you where to live and whether you can have a car and stuff like that is like so weird to me, because, you know, in Germany that would never work. Like, nobody could ever tell you you'd have to move into a dorm, or you couldn't have a car on campus or something like that. That's not how it works. But yeah, it was very fascinating to have this little insight. I did understand that some people were annoyed with the Simon Snow parts because at times they get very long in this book, but I really didn't mind. I really like the story. I love Cass, and I do like Simon, so I didn't really skip anything, because I heard people that they skipped the Simon Snow parts in the book, but I really liked the little in-between chapter thingies because I felt like they always related in some way to what was going on in the next chapter. I just overall really enjoyed this and decided to give it 4 stars. I didn't even say what this is about, but I guess everyone knows. This is about Kath, who has a twin sister, and they're off to university for their first year, and Kath is the shy one, and she's writing fan fiction about a character called Simon Snow, who's similar to Harry Potter, and yeah, it's about her first year in college, basically. Then the last book I've read is another 5-star book. I don't have the dust jacket because I borrowed this from my partner. I gave this to him for his birthday, and he's finally read it, and so I asked whether I could borrow it. Now I'm having hiccups. So this is the graphic novel of The Giver. I really wanted to read this because The Giver is one of my favorite books of all time. Obviously I gave it 5 stars, and this is about Jonas. Jonas lives in a society with sameness, and that basically means that there's no differences between people, and they don't have colors, they don't have animals, they don't have cars. It's all very clean cut. They all ride bikes and stuff like that, and you don't really make your own choices in sameness, but you have choices made for you by a committee, and so your spouse is chosen for you and your job is chosen for you and stuff like that. So this is about Jonas having to go through the process of his job being chosen for him, and then he's not really chosen for a job as he expected. And I love this book. I love dystopian novels, and I think the graphic form did a really good job at capturing the story. I felt a little bit iffy about the whole color thing because it's obviously more obvious if you're doing it in a graphic form, because in the book he only says that an apple changes because he doesn't actually know what's happening to it. But I felt like the pros overweighed this one con I had for the graphic form. I felt like the memories were so much more vivid in the graphic form, and they brought me to tears a little bit, and yeah, that was really good. I really enjoyed this. I think if you want to get into The Giver, you could definitely choose this graphic novel and get the full story out of it. Now, the only book I had started during the month and had not finished by the end was The House of Salt and Sorrows, and I am almost at the end now. I really enjoyed it, and I will talk more about that in my October reading vlogs. Now, October is always a very special month for me reading wise, so I will not do a monthly vlog, but I will do weekly vlogs, and so you will probably see the next vlog of this very soon. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like or nice comment. I always appreciate those. Let me know in the comments whether you have read anything similar this month or maybe something completely different, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!